Opal Beaters, it's Gina from orchidandopal.com, and I'm excited to bring you another tutorial today. This is a design that I came up with, as I had shared previously, from a lot of the beads that came from the June 2019 Adorable Elements Rotating Beads of the Month Club. After I created this design, I went ahead and created two more variations, so I do have a couple other to share with you. We will be doing this one here today, but you can also do a different take on it, which uses different sizes of fire polish beads in the first two strands. The other variation uses these purple octagonal 3-hole beads here, and again, two different color fire polish beads in the first two strands as well. So just wanted to show you real quick those other options. Let's go ahead and discuss what you'll need to create this project. For this tutorial, you will need 20 Arcos par Puca beads, 10 Minos par Puca beads, 15 daggers, 4 flat teardrops, 9 3mm fire polish. You'll need some 11-0 and some 15-0 seed beads, 2 wire guardians, which is optional, 5 to 6 feet of beading thread. This is Fireline. It is a type of fishing line that is very, very strong, but it is completely different than monofilament. This is what I recommend, but you can use whatever beading thread you're comfortable with. You'll also want a beading needle. I'll be using a size 10. Your jump rings, clasp, the chain, the beaded portion is 6 inches, so as much chain as you need to get the desired length of your necklace, and then of course scissors and jewelry pliers. I will also be using one of these little clips I picked up from my local Dollar Tree, but you could also use a stop bead or any other type of clip that you'd like to hold your beadwork in place. And as usual, I will have everything listed down below as far as the materials that you will need here, and links to very similar products you can also purchase. Alright, so step one for this project obviously is going to be to go ahead and thread your beading needle with your 5 to 6 feet of beading thread. Then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working from left to right on this collar piece, starting with the bottom row. So we're going to work this way, get to the end, go back and work this middle row, and then go back and finally work this third row, and then finish up the necklace. So let's go ahead and get started with this bottom row. We're going to jump right in with the Arcos par Pucas, our 15-0 seed beads, our daggers, some 11-0s, and some flat teardrops. Alright, I put 2 of those Arcos beads face to face, making a little circle. We're going to go through the bottom holes of this one facing in this direction, and then the other one facing in that direction, which makes the little circle. And here's what that looks like up close. You can see the 3 holes on each side, and we're just going through those bottom holes. So go ahead and do that, and then pull the beads down and leave yourself about an 8-inch tail. I'm going to go ahead and put my little clip right here. If you want to use a stop bead, you can use a stop bead or any other clip that you like to use in beading to keep your work in place from falling off the other end. Now we can continue on. We're going to be picking up a 15-0, then we're going to pick up 3 of our daggers, and since these have 2 different sides, you just want to make sure if you're using ones like that you pick them up so that the sides facing up are the ones you want. And then we're going to pick up 1 more 15-0 and slide those down. Just like that. Now we're ready for 2 more of our Arcos, so I'm going to put them together to make the little circle, and then go through the bottom holes of those beads facing each other, pull those down, and then we're ready for our flat teardrop section. So in this one we're going to be picking up an 11-0 and then a flat teardrop, again just making sure you have it on the side that you want, and then another 11-0. And then we're going to go ahead and pull these down and then repeat. So you're going to repeat this until you've reached the end of your dagger beads, or until you have 5 little clusters of 3 daggers. So let's continue on. Adding 2 more Arcos, and then adding a 15-0, 3 more daggers, and a 15-0. There we go. You can see how it's coming together and the way we're going to work this piece. So 2 more Arcos. So just keep repeating these steps, like I said, until you have your 5 clusters of 3 daggers, and then ending with 2 of these, and then we will meet back and work on the middle section. Alright guys, so the sequence of beads you should have on your thread should look something like this. We're coming out of the bottom hole on this Arcos here at the end, and at this point, if you're using wire guardians, we are ready to go ahead and put that on. I really highly recommend these, and again, I'll leave a link to these down below if you're not familiar with them. They aren't that expensive, but they really do a great job at protecting your thread on the end. So I just went through one end of the wire guardian and I'm going to swing through and go through the other end. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to proceed to go through the middle of this Arcos here. So go ahead and pull that through. Here is a closer look at the wire guardian as I'm pulling the thread. You just want to make sure that your thread sits right in the middle of that groove right there as you're pulling it through. And your wire guardian is just going to be sitting right next to the bottom hole and the middle hole right there. That's where it's going to be connected. So we're coming out of this Arcos here in the middle. We're ready to put one of our Minos Puca beads in the middle of that. These little one-hole barrel-shaped beads fit perfectly right in the center, so just go ahead, put one on, and then proceed right through the middle hole of the next Arcos you get to. Next, when you're going over top these dagger beads, you're going to be stringing on a 11-0, a 15-0, and an 11-0. So pick those up, 11-0, 15, and 11-0, and then proceed to go through the middle hole of the next Arcos that you get to. Pull that. And then since you're at the middle of these two Arcos again, you're going to pick up one of your Minos Puca beads and put one of those right in the center. So pick one up and proceed right through the center hole of that second Arcos and pop that into place. And this will all tighten up as you go, so if it's a little loose right now, don't worry about it. Then for the beads going over top the flat teardrop, you're going to be picking up 3 15-0s. And that's it. And then just go through the next Arcos that you get to. Pop those into place. And then it's just a matter of repeating all these steps. So again, putting one of your Minos beads right in there and proceeding on with an 11-0, 15, and 11-0, and so on and so forth. And you can see how this is starting to curl up, which is what we want. We want to have that nice gradual curve, which will fit right around the neck. All right, let's keep going here. I'm going to pop one of these in the middle. So by the way, I do want to let you know that I do have a Patreon account. If you do enjoy these free tutorials and you want to find a way to help support the production and help support my channel and offset some of the costs that go along with it, there's no pressure at all. But I do have some people who ask to do that, and I do have benefits for those patrons if you're interested. So I will leave the link to that down below. You can help support for as little as $1 a month. I have different tiers with different benefit levels, including special coupons to my online shop at orchidandopal.com, and I even introduced a $25 tier recently where I send a surprise goodie bag of beads to you each month that you're a patron. You get 12 to 15 different baggies of goodies from my own stash, all things that I would use, no plastic junk or anything like that. So you can kind of think of it as a D-stash crossed with a monthly subscription box, but it is different than a subscription box in the sense that it would be more random. You definitely get a random assortment of things that wouldn't have a theme, but I do try to be very generous with what I send and thoughtful about what I'm sending as well. With that tier and with also the $50 tier, it is free shipping included in that cost. With the $50 one, you do get a handmade necklace and pair of earrings custom made by yours truly every month that you are a patron. So if any of those options speak to you and if that's something that you would like to do, feel free to check that out. And again, if not, there's absolutely no pressure. I still love you guys and greatly appreciate every single one of you with your viewership alone. Alright, so we are coming to the end of this second row. I just need to do 3 more 15-0s right here and pop those in. At this point I'm going to take off the clip just because it's kind of getting in the way. I'm going to move this up a little bit, put in our little barrel. And see, you'll just keep tightening this up a little bit as you go. So don't worry if it's loose while you're going through the second row. When you get to the end of the second row, then you can keep tightening it. Pop in the last of these seed beads and our last Minos. There we go. So I'm going to put this here and then start pulling these threads to tighten everything up. And don't worry that we don't have a wire guardian on this end yet. We will do that when we go ahead and weave in our tail thread. At this point, you're coming out of the middle hole here on this Arcos. You want to pick up 3 of your 15-0s and then swing your needle back around and then proceed to go through the 2 top holes of your Arcos beads right there. That will position these 3 little seed beads right here to hide your thread as you are changing directions. So we're coming out of the top hole here of this Arcos. We're done using our 11-0 seed beads now, so I'm going to get those out of the way. And all we need to work with now are our 3mm fire polish and our 15-0. So go ahead and pick up a 15-0, a fire polish, and a 15-0, and put those right in between these 2 circle formations, going right through the top holes of the next Arcos beads right there. This is what you're going to be doing for the entire top portion of the necklace. Let's do one more together, and then we'll meet back once they're all done, and we will finish up the beaded portion of this necklace. Alright everyone, we're almost done with the beaded portion. We are coming out of the top hole here of this Arcos. We need to match this side, so to do that we're going to pick up 3 of our 15-0s, and we are just going to swing down through this Arcos, the Minos, the Arcos, the 3 seed beads, and then this Arcos right here. And so go ahead and pull that, and see how it popped those 3 seed beads into place. Now we're going to swing our thread back the other way, and because we're kind of in the middle of this circle, you're not really going to see the thread. If you wanted to, you could go all the way down the middle section of your necklace, and it would just serve to further reinforce the necklace, and that's fine. Or you can do what I'm doing here, which will hide the thread well enough. And so I'm just turning around and going through these beads right here. This is just anchoring everything in the side into place, so I'm just going through these, following the thread path till I get back to the wire guardian, and through here, and again just going through that side of the wire guardian. I like to go ahead and tack those down at least a couple times if I'm able to, so it's more than just one thread sitting in there. And then we're going to go back through some beads in this middle section, just as many as you can get through, and we're going to make sure our thread, as we're pulling that, goes right into the center of the groove of that wire guardian. At this point we can go ahead and make some half hitch knots to go ahead and finish off this side of our thread. Like I said, depending on how much thread you have left over, if you want to just keep following the thread path through your piece and keep weaving back through it with as much thread as you have, you can certainly do that. That is all personal preference. I am going to keep it as short and sweet as possible for this video, so I am just going to weave through some beads and make several half hitch knots. I'm going to do 3 of those, and then cut off this side of thread. So I'm just kind of hiding these underneath beads as best I can, and as we work with our tail thread, it will tighten up a little bit more as well. So I definitely recommend you going through the beads as many times as you can with your excess thread, but it is not something that you have to do. So I've done 3 knots. I'm going to clip that off, and then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to put it on the tail thread. And you guys remember, we need to still add our wire guardian to this side, so I'm going to go ahead and thread the needle on this side and get our little wire guardian ready. So we are coming out of this bottom hole. Go ahead and go through one side of your wire guardian and go ahead and pop that down to your work and get it into position, and then go through the other side of the wire guardian and through that middle row of beads. And again, just pop your thread right in the center of that groove. Make sure it doesn't go to one side or the other. At this point, I am going to make a little half hitch knot right here before the seed beads. I'm going to go through the rest of those seed beads and just through that Arcos, and then I'm going to swing back this way by going through the bottom row. Just go through as many beads as you can at once. I'm going to do another half hitch knot right here just to keep securing that and go through the rest of these beads till I get back to the wire guardian again. There we go. So going through that Arcos and the wire guardian, and that will anchor that guardian into place. So we're just making a loop and going back through these beads again. Got my thread into place and just still following that thread path. I'm going to go through that Arcos, and I'm going to make one final half hitch knot right there in front of these seed beads. Then just going through as many beads as I can with that little remainder of thread that's on my needle, just like that. And then I'm going to clip off the excess thread. So that is our beaded portion. Again, you can play around with this and try different beads and see how they work for you, but this is the general idea. Once you get to that point, you will be putting on 2 jump rings here of your choice and then attaching however much chain you want here. I added about 5.5 inches of chain on each side of mine, and then as you can see, I ended one side with one of these larger jump rings, and then the other side had a smaller jump ring and a lobster clasp, and then I used an additional segment of chain, and this is all personal preference. I went ahead and did a wire wrapped loop around one of these extra daggers that I had to add an embellishment on the end of my chain. So there you have it, guys. That is the beaded portion and how you would go ahead and finish that up. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. Please feel free to leave a comment or a question down below. I always love to hear from you. And please stay tuned for much more to come. More unboxings, finished jewelry updates, and tutorials like this. Don't forget, I will also leave the links to similar products down below in the description section. So always take a look down there. Thank you guys so much for being with me for another fun tutorial. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And as always, happy beading! If you enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to give it a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of my latest videos. Check out the information section under the video for links to my social media handles and other helpful info. And feel free to check out my shop at orchidandopal.com. Thanks for watching!